ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरतुसे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we welcome everyone for today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So we are discussing from chapter 2 and verse number 27. So yesterday we discussed from verse 26. अथ चैनम नित्य जातम नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतम तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नैनं शोचितुमर्हसि. If however you think that the soul will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty arm. This is what the argument Krishna gave. Now, Krishna explains his the same thing he is explaining more detail. जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युर् ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मादपरिहार्यर्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. जातस्य हि ध्रुवोर्मृत्युर् ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च. Jatasya, one who has taken birth. That's why on the birth of a child in Vedic culture, they used to perform Jata Sanskar. Jata Sanskar means Jata means one who has taken birth. So Jatasya means one who has taken birth. He Dhruvor Mrityu. Dhruva means certainly. It's a fact. That means definitely he is going to die. The death is certain for a person who has taken birth. Jatasya Dhruva Mrityur. And similarly, Dhrumam Janma Mritasya cha. Just as one who has taken birth is sure to die, similarly, one who has died is sure to take birth again. This is also a fact. Dhrumam Janma Mritasya cha. Dhrumam means it is also a fact. That's why one should not foolishly think that this life is all in all. As soon as I leave this body, as soon as I'm dead, so I'm dead and gone forever. No, we remain. We take birth again and again. This is the praman proof, uh, evidence from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse number 27. You can quote this verse. Hmm. To anyone who says that there is no reincarnation, who knows that there is life after death? Yes, we know. You don't know, but we know that there is life after death. Krishna is telling, Krishna is supreme authority, and Bhagavad Gita has been accepted all over the world as supreme authority. So nobody can object the verses of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is accepted, authorized book. The greatest philosopher, greatest scientist, greatest politicians, greatest businessman, and greatest in all the field, not just in a spiritual field, greatest in all the field, people have accepted this Bhagavad Gita. Only a fool, only a person who is most foolish, he rejects. The other day, one devotee was telling that her professor, teacher, he doesn't believe in Bhagavad Gita. But what kind of teacher or professor is he? Uh, His in whatever field he may be working, the idol of that field, the great scientists, they believe in Bhagavad Gita, and in the and and the country in which he is living, the prime minister of that country, Bharatvarsh, Narendra Modi, he is accepting Bhagavad Gita. And in whatever field, people have accepted the greatest people, ideal persons. They have accepted Bhagavad Gita as truth. So that's why we are very safe. As soon as somebody asks anything, we simply go to Bhagavad Gita. Yes, that's full and final. No further evidence is required to give. We don't require. This one verse is sufficient to prove that there is reincarnation. But yes, still, because people are so foolish that they cannot accept, we also give some arguments, reasoning. But those are just to support the main praman or proof. Main proof is this Sabda Praman. Sabda Praman means whatever the Vedic literatures have given us the truth, that is the highest evidence. Uh, but just to support it, we may sometimes give scientific and reasonable argument also. Uh, but although that is not required, but we can give. Just like reincarnation. What is the proof of reincarnation? This is the proof. This is the first and foremost proof. But further proofs we can give, that if there is no reincarnation, then why so many different kinds of people are there? Why somebody is taking birth in rich family and somebody is taking birth in poor family? What is the reason? Why somebody is getting a body of a girl and body of a boy? Why somebody is getting birth in Africa, somebody in Japan, somebody in India? What is the reason? How can you explain it if you don't accept the this law of this theory of reincarnation? Nobody can actually explain this. Why a child is born physically handicapped? He has not done anything wrong. Why? Why a child immediately after his birth he is dead and gone? What is the reason? Who can explain all these things? He has not done anything wrong. So why it had happened? Because in his previous life he had done some criminal activity. That's why it is happening. So this is proper explanation. There are many kinds of phobias. Phobias means somebody uh, from very beginning of his life he is very fearful of water. Phobia of water. Somebody is very fearful of weapons, fire, or height. So what is the reason? Because this is connected. This is connected with their previous life. The twins, they look exactly the same body, everything is same, but it's still their mentality, their nature, their level of intelligence is different. Why? Because the twins, although they have external gross body same, but the soul within them is different, and the mind and intelligence, the sukshma sarir, subtle body is also different. So the subtle body with soul is coming from past life. So it has different kinds of samskaras, different kinds of nature. So this is how one can explain. Otherwise, one cannot explain the things, the phenomena happening in one's life without accepting the theory of reincarnation. So these are some of the reasons, or logic or scientific explanation we can give. But the best proof is that immediately you say, Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha. One who has taken birth is sure to die, and one who has died is sure to take again, sure to take birth again. Tasmad aparihārarthe na tvam sochitum arhasi. Therefore, tasmad means Krishna is concluding. Therefore, in the proper discharge of your duty, in the matter of your executing your duty, you should not lament simply because of body, because bodies keep changing. Apariharyartha, for that which is unavoidable. Apariharyartha means which cannot be avoided at any cost. That means Arjuna was fearful of fighting. Why? He was thinking that if I fight, I will become the cause of death of my friends and relatives. They should not die. This is not good. Yudhishthir Maharaj was thinking that I have become the cause of death for so many millions of people. But Krishna is telling, Jatasya dhruva mrityu. One who has taken birth is sure to die. Huh? It is unavoidable. So something which is unavoidable, which is going to happen in any way. So why not we should execute our duty and get the credit. So this is the point. So that's why Krishna says, Natvam sochitum arasi. You do not deserve to lament over the loss of the body. Loss of the body. You should not lament. So one has to take birth according to one's activities of life. The, the kind of activities we perform in this life, that will determine our next birth. Next birth. The kind of birth which we will get in the next life, that is determined by the activities which we perform in this world, this life. Because the kind of activity we perform, similarly we develop the mentality or nature, swabhav, and accordingly, this mentality, this Sukshma Sharir mind, it carries the soul to that particular kind of material body. This is how scientifically it works. This is a mechanism. It's not just a theory, or it's not just you can say magic. No, of course it is magic. It's very wonderful phenomena, but it's a very scientific phenomena, which is so subtle that the material scientists with their material intelligence and instruments, they cannot perceive. Because this science is very subtle. Just like grossly also, if you see, if there are two rooms, uh, one room is very hot and the another adjacent room is very cold. So if you open the door, then immediately what will happen? After some time, they will achieve equilibrium. The heat will flow from one room to another room. So this is the law of thermodynamics. So this is, but these laws of thermodynamics, which the material scientists they read, they study, experiment, that is just at gross level, very gross level, and it is very just you can say it's a childish, simply a childish attempt to understand the laws of thermodynamics. But the higher version, or subtle in subtle level, these laws work very wonderfully. Uh, so this is a great science. This works at the level of mind, intelligence, and ego also. The material scientists, they are hardly able to completely understand the movement or mechanism or functions of five gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. Ether also not up to the mark. They say earlier the scientists they used to say that ether means vacuum. Vacuum means nothing. There is nothing, vacuum. But actually in the space, it's not that it's vacuum. There is no earth, no water, no fire, no air. But there is another element which is known as ether or sky, akash. Bhumirapanalu vayu kham mano buddhire vacha. Ham mano buddhire vacha. Bhumirapanalu vayu kham. This akash element is there in the space. It's not vacuum. Otherwise, how these electromagnetic waves can travel? If there is nothing in the sky, then how is it possible that electromagnetic waves are traveling? We are doing this discussion online. How it is possible? Because of electromagnetic waves. Those who are science students, they know about this. But even if you are not a science student, just you can understand a little bit. We are just trying to prove that the modern science, whatever experiment they are doing, that is only with these elements, gross elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether. At the best, they are working on this uh, electromagnetic signals, electromagnetic waves through technology, all this internet facility, technology, softwares, applications, and artificial intelligence is also. Everything is based on just this yantra technology, yantra, machine. Everything is just mechanical. It may be gross mechanical or subtle mechanics. Gross mechanics and subtle mechanics. Subtle mechanics is they have characterized as electrical and electronics. Uh, and gross mechanics is this mechanical, whatever we study. And this medical line, medical field, that is also a mechanical study of material body. Uh, but sukshma, subtle science involves the functioning of mind and intelligence also. And the day may come after, maybe after a few hundreds and few thousands of years, the scientists may be able to experiment at the level of subtle science, subtle elements. That means mind. They may be able to capture mind, what is mind, and they are trying also. They are using certain kinds of brain waves and trying to determine how the mind fluctuates. So they are working on this, but till now they have not yet reached to the platform of successfully analyzing how the mind functions. But in future they may also do it, but that will also not be so wonderful. That has already been done before also. Uh, in this particular Kali Yuga, scientists are trying very hard, but there in the scriptures it is mentioned in previous Kali Yugas, there were scientists who even advanced so much so that they could reach uh, up to the point of Vaikuntha planets. They, of course, they could not enter, they cannot enter Vaikuntha planets, but at least they could determine that beyond this material realm, something spiritual realm is there. That much advancement also had taken place in previous kalpas somewhere. Uh, so, till that point, a material scientist can progress, but beyond that, they cannot go ahead. And actually, these yogis who achieve ashtasiddhis, they are also scientists in one way. Not in one way. Actually, they are actual scientists because they not just uh, depend on this gross material science, but they transcend, they go beyond this and they work on the platform of Sukshma Vigyan, subtle science comprised of mind intelligence. That's why a yogi who has perfected and himself, so he can travel with the help of his mind. That is his power. He can travel through with the help of his mind. He doesn't require even yantra, machine, whatever things we use in this material world as it in the name of technology. Everything is just made up of this yantra, machine, mechanical. Everything is mechanical. We don't have yeah, mantra technology that through sound we can use. Even some of the technologies involve we speak and then we get some kind of output. Just like in Google, you can speak and you can get the result. But that is also based on this five gross material science only. Because sound vibration is also this earth, water, fire, air, ether. This is subtlest gross element. But beyond that is mind and intelligence. So mantra technology, although the sound vibration is used for pronouncing the mantras, the sound is used, which is gross element, but the effect is conveyed or transferred through mind at the level of mind. That's why it's mantra technology. Mantra. The effect is generated there also. And beyond that, even this mantra technology is Mahamantra technology, which is Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which even goes beyond the mind. The effect on mind is also just a side benefit of chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna Mahamantra takes a living entity's soul, spirit soul, to travel across the material world to a spiritual world. That is the greatest science. Uh, Most subtlest, most powerful, and most greatest, and yet at the same time, very simplest science. Very simple also. That is the beauty of this chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Krishna consciousness. That is the most wonderful science, deepest science, uh, very deep and very wonderful, and most perfect, fastest, and subtlest, very, very subtlest. And at the same time, it's very simple to execute. Uh, Modern science, rocket science, nobody, not everyone can understand. Uh, But this science, Hare Krishna Mahamantra science, yeah, even a small child can apply it. It's so wonderful and get the result done. So that is. So anyway, we were discussing about the how the transmigration of soul takes place from one body to another body. The soul actually transmigrates and it follows the science. There is mechanism behind this, and the main element behind all this mechanism is mind. Just like when we are right now, we are talking. So the main element which is involved in our talking, you are able to hear me. I am sitting in Mumbai and some of you are sitting in different parts of India. So the main element which is involved in this, that is ether. Electromagnetic waves are traveling, and my sound vibrations and my video is converted into electrical signals, electromagnetic wave signals, and then it is transferred to your device, and then it is capturing and it is giving the output in terms of sound vibration, sound and audio, and then video. So this is how this arrangement works. But this is also at the gross level. So similarly, the main element behind the transmigration of soul from one body to another body is actually mind. It's mind, the mentality which is known as mentality. So the kind of work one performs, activities one performs while living in this material world. Similarly, he develops the desire or impressions within the mind, and similarly, his mind becomes inclined for a particular kind of this desires to fulfill activities, a particular kind of this environment. The mentality develops. He becomes attached. The mind becomes attached. So naturally, it flows from this after leaving the soul. As soon as the body is no more suitable to live in this body, then the mind decides that it goes to another body. So this function is carried out by mind, but mind, because it is an element, the material element. So who supervises all this function? So material nature under directorship of the super soul, everything is performing. And the soul simply is just sitting. Soul is simply passenger, nothing. Soul has no power to control anything of these, all this transmigration of soul. Simply, the mind, the subtle body is like a vehicle within which the soul is sitting and simply waiting when I will reach to my destination. And the soul neither it can choose the destination nor it can change the destination. But of course, soul has the power to decide what should I do. With the help of Guru Sadhu Shastra and proper knowledge and instructions, one can decide how to develop my gross vehicle. Uh, and once this vehicle is decided, then you must go to that particular destination. Just like once you have chosen this particular destination I want to go, you have booked the Ola cab or any uh, cab you have booked. So you are sitting there, then you must go there. You cannot change, but you can decide to change. That is up to you. Similarly, at any point of time, we have the power of decision. We can choose. Uh, suppose somebody is leading a very sinful life. He is a drunkard, meat eater, and all kinds of sinful activities he is performing. So accordingly, his next body is developing, next destination is getting developed. So as soon as he will leave the body, the subtle body, comprising this mind, intelligence, and ego, it carries the soul and flows. It flows to that particular gross body, which has already been developed uh, from the activities which he has performed in the present life. But the same person, the same soul, can decide when as soon as he comes in contact with a devotee and he gets the knowledge, then he can decide, no, no, no more eating, no more meat eating, and no more intoxication. I shall become very nice, good devotee. So then, similarly, as he starts practicing Krishna consciousness, his next destination, next body, which has been decided, it gets dissolved, and his next destination, the spiritual destinations, he progresses towards the spiritual destination. So this can be changed also. But one who has already led his life, performed all the activities, and he's left his body, then he's decided to get certain kind of a body over which he has no control at all. He is forced to take birth in that particular species of life. That is the law of nature. That's why Prabhupada said, stringent laws of nature. Material nature is stringent. Stringent means it's very, very powerful, very, very strong, and nobody can avoid it. Uh, it cannot be overcome. Very, very, very strict laws of nature. Laws of nature are very, very strict. Even to the point of we hear from Bhagavatam that Bharat Maharaj, he was uh, absorbed in meditating upon the Supreme Lord, but somehow or other he got attached to a deer. So his mentality changed for the time being. For the time being, he became attached to that deer, and unfortunately, it happened that that particular time when his mind mentality was attached to a material object, he died. Immediately, he was transferred to the body of the deer. That is the stringent laws of nature. That is the meaning of the laws of material nature are very, very strict. It applies upon everyone. But because Bharat Maharaj, he had already executed so much spiritual activities, so even though, according to the laws of nature, he was transferred in the body of a deer, still by the grace of the Supreme Lord being very merciful, he revealed whatever spiritual activities he performed in previous life. And so he became very aware. Even in the body of the deer, he was fully self-realized. So he never wasted even a single moment with his dear fellows, his very dear fellows, in wasting time in playing and roaming around in the forest. No, he even in the body of deer, he used to come near those great devotees in the ashram who used to chant Hare Krishna and speak Krishna Katha and have prasadam. So always he used to remain there, and in this way he passed his life. And as soon as he left his body of the deer, so because he already developed again very nice mentality, Krishna conscious mentality in the association of those sages. So as soon as he left body, so he again got a very nice good Brahman, a body of a very nice Brahmana. And even in that body, by the grace of the Supreme Lord Krishna, he retained his remembrance of Krishna consciousness. And then he became completely alarmed. No more risk in taking any material attachment. He became completely detached. He acted like he is dumb, he is deaf, and he is full number one in this way, so that his relatives, friends, and people, they may not engage him in material activities. And inside, within his heart, within his mind, he was completely absorbed in thinking about the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So in this way, he completed his last duration of life. And in that particular life, as soon as he left body, he went back home, back to God. That was the final destination of Jada Bharat. So in this way, we discuss how the body is transferred. So this particular verse proves this, that one who has taken birth is sure to die, and one who is who has died, he's sure to take birth again. So I think time is over. We have 8 minutes. We'll just read the purport also. So one has to take birth according to one's activities of life, and after finishing one term of activities, one has to die to take birth for the next. In this way, one is going through one cycle of birth and death after another without liberation. Without liberation, the cycle continues. The cycle of birth and death does not, however, support unnecessary murder, slaughter, and war. But at the same time, violence and war are inevitable factors in human society for keeping law and order. So although Lord Krishna is encouraging Arjuna that one who has taken birth is safe to die, so you don't worry about their death. But that does not encourage the violence and war, no, and murder, slaughter, no. But sometimes when, in order to keep the proper upgoing of law and order in human society, if it is necessary to have war and violence to destroy the miscreants, so one should not hesitate in doing so, because ultimately the person is not getting killed, the body is getting killed just for the sake of keeping the society to follow religious principle. So the battle of Kurukshetra, being the will of the Supreme, was an inevitable event, and to fight for the right cause is the duty of a Kshatriya. So this particular battle of Kurukshetra, that was actually desired by the Supreme Lord. So Arjuna must fight this. Why should he be afraid or aggrieved at the death of his relative, since he was discharging his proper duty? So he should not have aggrieved, because he was on the path of executing his proper duty. So that was must be done. He did not deserve to break the law, thereby becoming subjected to the reactions of sinful acts, of which he was so afraid. By avoiding the discharge of his proper duty, he would not be able to stop the death of the relatives, and he would be degraded due to his selection of the wrong path of action. So this the Krishna is explaining. Okay, so we'll stop it. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can ask. Hare Krishna. Yes, any question? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Huh. That professor is a member of Rashtriya Hindu Sangathan and he doesn't believe in Bhagavad Gita. Just see the fun. I don't accept Krishna as Bhagwan because the Gita is people. So this is all nonsense going on in this country. A person who is a member of Rashtriya Hindu Sangathan and he doesn't believe in Krishna and doesn't believe in Bhagavad Gita. What kind of nonsense is this? Okay, anyway. Yes, any question? Hare Krishna.